2023 Planning Commission meeting. Brett, will you call the roll, please?
Earl Carpenter.
Present.
Amanda Cope.
Here.
Josh Fletcher.
Present.
Tina King. Jeff Martin.
Here.
Jerry McDermott. Present. Grant Moore.
Here.
Jeff Peters. Susan Ralston.
Here.
Steve White.
Here.
Nick Sutton.
Here.
Austin Boudreau.
We do have quorum then. We have two sets of minutes from the May 8th and the May 15th meeting. I would accept a motion for both of those unless anybody has a change or a suggestion they'd like to make to either.
Move that we approve the both minutes as presented.
Okay, there is a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Real second. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. We currently have no old business. We will move on to the new business of the evening. The way that the meeting will run is that a member of the planning staff will read a request for the commission and lay out the petition. After that is done, the members of the planning commission will question the staff if they have any questions. When that is done, we will ask a petitioner to come forward and speak. We ask that you state your name and your address when you do so. Completing that, we will then open up the meeting to public comment. We also ask that you state your name and your address for the minutes. We'll close that down, have discussion, and then call for a motion after we read our findings of fact, if that is appropriate. If you haven't done so already, please sign in outside so we know who's in attendance. That would be great. And Brett, would we go on to the first order of business tonight?
First on the agenda this evening is the Glendarren Hills Golf Club Maintenance Building seeking development plan. Applicant was A and D Specs. The owners, Glenn and Amy Kelly. Locations at 3333 Glendarren Way in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. The current zoning's R2, medium density, single family residential district. Hearing date is today's date, June 12th. Legal notices appeared in the Herald Republican on June 2nd. 6 property owners within 300 feet of the project were sent notice certificate mailing on June 1st. Applicable code is Title 18 of the Unified Development Ordinance and Indiana Code Development Plan 36-7-4 of 1400 series. It's not located in the floodplain and the staff recommendation is approval. Glendarren Hills Golf Club was developed in 1999. Homes were meant to be constructed throughout the golf course. As of now, only sections 1 and 2 of the homes have been completed. Existing barns along the private drive of Glendarren Way were used as their maintenance building and storage. Those barns will be raised and housing is planned to be developed along the road. Today, they wish to construct a new 50-foot by 125-foot maintenance building northwest of the existing clubhouse. Along with the maintenance garage, the building will include an office and private restroom. The building will be accessed via Stone Drive from the clubhouse. Next, you'll see a location there. The grayed out section on the map is the current clubhouse. The yellow is the Stone Drive leading back to where the new accessory structure will be built. The building will be finished with dark gray steel siding and asphalt shingles. Access to the building is gained through 3 12-foot by 12-foot overhead doors and 2 man doors. Outdoor lighting will be minimal and above the 5 entry doors installed on a dusk and dull wall pack. Next is our 2 images from the location. It's going to be at the main entrance of the golf course clubhouse, looking northwest over the build location. Behind them, a set of trees outlined with the cursor. Contextual zoning and land use, as stated, the property is zoned R2. To the north is park and recreation zoning in the Heritage Hills subdivision. To the south is R1 housing and vacant agricultural land. To the east is park and recreation zoning and vacant agricultural zoning. And to the west is R1 and R2 housing, as well as Kohl's, Menards, and other commercial businesses. This project coincides with the Angola Comprehensive Plan on objective of 1.5, strongly encourage redevelopment of underutilized vacant and abandoned structures and lots. As of today's date, there's been no public input. This is a result of the public notices. And in conclusion, staff is encouraged to see an expansion of the current property and is supportive of the request. The new accessory structure to the Glendarren Hills Golf Club further assures their commitment to our community for providing a resort-style course to our locals and visitors. Additionally, the large size of the property may accommodate the addition and embraces Angola's comprehensive plan of providing redevelopment to underutilized lots.
Thanks, Matt. Anyone have a plan? Anyone have a question for planning staff? I would assume there's probably not, just because of being a maintenance building, there's probably not any pavement or anything associated with runoff or any other.
No, not with this other driveway.
Water and electric and standard stuff. And we will ask, is there a petitioner who wishes to speak on this project? You're welcome to do so at this time. Okay, seeing none present, we will we'll go that. We have not had any public input on this. Okay. We will then open it up to public comment. If anyone wishes to speak for or against this petition, you're welcome to do so at this time. Okay, hearing or seeing no one, we will close that portion. Brett, will you read our findings, please?
Number one, the development plan is or is not consistent with the City of Angola's comprehensive plan. Staff proposes to find that the development plan is consistent with the City of Angola's comprehensive plan objective 1.5. Number two, the development plan does or does not cause a hazard or unsafe condition for drivers on the existing or proposed streets or at points of access to perimeter streets. Staff proposes to find that the development does not cause a hazard or unsafe condition for drivers on the existing streets or at points of access because there is no proposed improvements to the public streets or access, nor does staff feel improvements are necessary for this request.
Agree.
Number three, the development plan does or does not cause existing or proposed streets to exceed their capacity or cause traffic congestion.
It does not.
Staff proposes to find that because the intensity of the existing use is not changing, improvements are being made to the site that only affect the users.
Agree.
Number four, the development plan does or does not dedicate the necessary right-of-way for future expansion of perimeter roads as indicated in the thoroughfare plan. Staff proposes the finding that because adequate right-of-way already exists, no additional right-of-way is necessary. Number five, the development plan does or does not create safe environment for pedestrians to safely move about the development and to connect to perimeter pedestrian facilities. Staff proposes the finding that because its placement connecting to existing building infrastructure and the addition is disturbing a minimal footprint of the property. Number six, the development plan does or does not arrange buildings and structures appropriately for function and aesthetic appeal. Staff proposes to find that the development ranges the proposed facilities adequately for function and development and uses existing pathways. Additionally, placement of storage structure is near the primary structure and in a screen location. Number seven, the development plan is or is not compatible with surrounding uses, buildings, and zoning districts, or is designed to effectively and appropriately buffer or transition two uses, buildings and zoning districts to which is in conflict.
Yes.
Staff proposes defining that it will effectively buffer those uses with which is in conflict to ensure neighborliness and aesthetic quality. Development is an expansion of the support-based accessory structure and uses to an already accepted and established use. The finishes will match current structures and setbacks are met with ample buffering.
Great.
And if we could, just to expedite 8 through 12 combined.
I'm fine with that.
The development plan satisfies the applicable development standards. Does or does not satisfy the applicable development standards.
Yes.
Staff proposes defining that once all plan review and routing comments are adequately addressed.
Agree.
Thank you. We will entertain a motion for this petition.
I'm making a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve on the table. Is there a second? We have a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion has passed. Our second request of the evening, Jennifer, I believe you have that.
Okay. This project is, we're calling it Top Shelf Retail. It's a development plan approval. The applicant is Cross Development. Josh Allen is representing them. The Lemmings do own the property. The location is 140 Eister Drive. The current zoning is C2, which is medium to large commercial. Tonight is the public hearing. Public notices appeared in the Herald on June 2nd, and 9 property owners were sent certificate of mailings. Title 18 of the UDO and Indiana Code Development Plan 36-7-4-1400 series applies here. It is not located in a floodplain, and staff is recommending conditional approval. Top Shelf is a retail concept that offers home furnishing, health and beauty items, home cleaning supplies, arts, crafts, and party goods, with 95% of the items priced at $5 or below. Top Shelf's parent company is Dollar General Corporation. Direct competitors include Home Goods, Walmart, Target. Top Shelf is proposing a 10,640 square foot standalone retail store with 31 parking spaces, landscaping, and lighting on a 1.24 acre lot. The front facade of the building will face North Wayne Street, but it will have access off the private drive, which is Eister. Across North Wayne is the Steuben County Trails. Parking will be located in the front of the building, which is 29 standard parking spaces with 2 ADA. Loading docks and trash receptacles are going to be located on the south facade. For semis to access that area, they'll pull straight in all the way to the north and then back into that loading dock. I like this motion. So as far as some required items that are outstanding, street trees are required, 5 canopy trees, and that does need to be within 20 feet of the right of way. Parking lot landscaping includes 6 deciduous trees, 10 shrubs, all located within 10 foot of the edge of the parking lot. And then we have lot plantings that includes the foundation planting of shrubs, and then anywhere on the lot, 5 canopy trees. To date, we did receive revised landscaping plans. I think at the end of last week, Thursday or Friday. We've looked over them. There's still a few outstanding items that need to be addressed with those. No signage has been proposed yet. The public facilities, sidewalks would be required along North Wayne. They just have not accounted for those in the plans yet. Some pictures here. This is looking northwest across the site. This next one is from Eyster Drive looking northeast. This is kind of straight north, that current gravel area. Let's see. This one is looking straight west, so this would be like right at the front facade of the building. And this one is more looking south otherwise. Contextual zoning for the area. This property is zoned C2. So just north of the site are some medical offices, a sports complex. To the south is a substation and car dealership. To the east is the trail and big box retail. And to the west is just vacant grounds until you run into 69. Comprehensive plan provides objective 1.5 and 1.7 that basically, to summarize, says use our lots within our current boundaries to their fullest potential. I won't go through all of this. I've summarized the plan review that's still outstanding, but here is a complete list for you as well. To date, we have not received any public input as a result of the notices. Too far, sorry. So in conclusion, staff is encouraged to see investment in the community. The new building will be similar in scale, finish, and context as the surrounding development. Given the outstanding items that need to be addressed in order to determine compliance with Angola standards, staff suggests the following conditions of approval. The landscape plan be approved by staff prior to the issuance of any permits. A signage plan be applied for separately. Revised facades, the other facades, for compliance with architectural standards, and that staff could approve that. Revised site plan to include the sidewalk along North Wayne, and then all other routing comments to be adequately addressed. With that being given to staff to determine if they're adequately addressed. Is there any questions from me or Brett?
For, with the revised plans, you know how many of these have been accounted for already?
I just briefly looked at the landscape plan, and not everything was complete.
So what was completed?
I think they were just looking at their code a little differently. So Matt and I both made a comment that this is how you look at it. Matt Hanna, the Parks.
Does staff have any concern with those outstanding items at this point?
No, we're not. Speaking for myself, I'm not overly concerned about any of these items. We would like to see the plans further along. Obviously, part of the findings of facts are checking these standards. But overall, we're fairly comfortable as long as the board is of giving staff the ability to make sure those standards are adhered to.
That's good. Anyone else have any questions? This time we will open the meeting up to a petitioner. If there's anybody who wishes to speak on behalf of this project, you're welcome to do so. Just state your name and your address, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Josh Allen. I'm with Cross Development. I'm the proposed developer for the project. Address is 9461 Kenwood Road, Cincinnati, Ohio. So I appreciate the staff's review of our project and our plans, and the awesome staff report that was all put together here with a lot of good information in it. As was mentioned by staff, we did supply some additional drawings and details after we got their initial comments. To answer an earlier question, which of these conditions essentially have been resubmitted with additional information? The landscape plan we already talked about, and I think there's just maybe a calculation that we need to come up with different numbers of trees and shrubs, that kind of thing, which we'll gladly work through. We did provide some signage details for the pylon sign and the building sign. We revised the architectural plans to better comply with basically the square footages of materials is what it was boiled down to. A revised site plan, including the sidewalk. We added that to the site plan. That was something that the engineer just missed from our earlier conversations. And then any additional comments outlined here. I know we also did include revised stormwater calculations for engineering to look at and a few other engineering related items. But I'm here to answer any of the questions that might come up and happy to be here. Thank you.
Anyone have questions, Commissioner, at this time?
You did say you was going to put sidewalk in.
Yes. Yeah, we'd like to connect to the sort of multi-use path that's across the street and then route it into our site.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you.
At this time, we will open the meeting up to public comment. If anyone would like to speak for or against the petition, you are welcome to do so at this time. Hearing or seeing no one, we will close that portion. And do we have any outside comments or correspondence?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any further questions from staff or staff? Okay, I think we can proceed to our findings.
All right. The development plan is or is not consistent with the Angola comprehensive plan. The staff is proposing the finding that objective 1.5 and 1.4 supports that finding. Agree or disagree? The development plan does or does not cause hazardous, unsafe condition for drivers on existing or proposed streets or point of access or perimeters. Staff proposes the finding that because there are no proposed improvements to public streets, traffic generation is expected to be minimal. NDOT will determine if any improvements are needed on Eyster Drive.
Agreed.
The development does or does not cause existing or proposed streets to exceed their capacity or cause traffic congestion. Staff proposes the finding that because the intensity of the proposed development is minimal.
Agreed.
The development plan does or does not dedicate the necessary right-of-way for future expansion of the perimeter roads as indicated in the thoroughfare plan. The development fronts US 127, also known as North Lane, which already has adequate right-of-way. No additional right-of-way is necessary. The development plan does or does not create a safe environment for pedestrians to safely move about the development and connect to perimeter pedestrian facilities. Staff proposes the finding that a sidewalk along North Wayne Street is proposed, a painted crosswalk to the entrance to the building would create a safe environment.
Agreed.
The development plan does or does not arrange buildings and structures appropriate for the function and aesthetic appeal. Sorry. Staff proposes the finding that the development's location for parking, the loading docks, trash receptacles, and drainage is adequate. Additionally, the development will meet all development standards for landscaping, lighting, and high-quality material finishes.
Agreed.
The development plan is or is not compatible with surrounding uses, buildings, zoning districts, or is designated to effectively and appropriately buffer and transition those uses, buildings, or zoning districts to which it is in conflict. Similar uses exist immediately around it, adjacent to the development. Additionally, the building will be similar in setback and finished material. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
Let's see. So like Brett, number 8 through 12, if we can lump those all together, if that's acceptable. So basically they are in compliant or will be in compliant once all routing comments are addressed.
Agreed.
Okay, everyone okay with that? Okay.
Okay, thank you. With the findings read, we will call for a motion regarding this petition.
Make a motion we approve with the conditions that are listed.
There's a motion for approval with the conditions that are listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Earl will second. All those in favor of the motion as it's been made signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, that motion is passed. Welcome and thank you. Our third issue for the night, Brett.
This thing is. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. He said the final one. Went to the end. This one.
Phone with it, because I
The one, someone that's actually on top shelf.
All right. Sorry, Brett.
Oh, you're fine. All right, next on the agenda is application for rezoning. The project name is Speedway Professional Park. Applicant and owner is Primco Smith Road LLC. The location is in the 3400 block of North State Road 127 in the ETJ. The current zoning is AG agricultural. Their proposed zoning is C2 at medium to large general commercial and HI high impact. Current use is construction, staging, and stockpiling of materials. The proposed use is commercial and gravel and sand and mining. Hearing date is today's date, June 12th. Legal notices appeared in the Herald Republican. On June 2nd, 9 property owners within 300 feet of the project were sent legal notices, and they were sent on May 26th. Applicable code is Title 18 of our UDO, Indiana Code Zoning Ordinance 36-7-4-600 series and 36-7-4-1015 series. And the Indiana Code Subdivision Control 36-7-4-700 series. Project is not located within a floodplain. The Primco Smith Road LLC property is along State Road 127, has been utilized for construction, staging, and stockpiling of materials since at least 2006. Planning for the future, the company intends to relocate one of their concrete batch plants to this location. The petitioner has owned this approximately 41-acre parcel of land since 2016 and wishes to plat the property into 2 lots and rezone each lot to maximize the area's growth. Currently, the city of Angola is in the advanced stages of negotiations and planning on running city utilities along State Road 127 to Pokagon State Park, opening the possibility of growth north of the city limits. The petitioner wishes to plat approximately 4.5 acres shown in red, lot fronting State Road 127, to promote commercial development that provides goods and services to the regional population and tourists. Rezoning this lot to C2. Additionally, the second lot will encompass the remaining acreage of approximately 36 acres shown in yellow. They're requesting this rezone to high impact district to accommodate the future operation of gravel and sand mining. The petitioner desires favorable recommendation on proposed rezone before presenting a primary plat before the Plan Commission on July 10th. Next, we move into the site plan of the existing property as it sits today. To the north is just vacant agricultural and C2 zoning along 127. To the west is commercial uses like Scoops Ice Cream, and to the south is the watershed storage condos, C2, and furthermore agricultural. The proposed plat would include 4.5 acres along State Road 127 and would include a 50-foot access easement along the existing drive lane to the remainder of the property. On the north side of this drive, the property has a standing pond and would likely not be developable. On the south side of the drive is feasible to have a commercial building and associated parking. Next, you'll see their preliminary plat on how they plan on spacing the property to accommodate the drawings that I showed. And then next is an example aerial view out west of town where Cameron's, what was it? Yeah, the west one is Cameron's family medicine. And then the east property is the Farm Bureau Insurance Company located in front of a concrete batch plant of Julian and IMI location. So it's the outline in red is basically showing you the proposed section they're wanting to rezone and basically what is able to fit in that type of amount of space. Next, for applicable zoning code, you'll see high impact that underneath C, industrial permitted uses is accommodated of the gravel and sand mining. And next in C2, the medium to large general commercial, you'll see everything that will be able to be accommodated in that C2 zoning for future expansion. Contextual zoning and land use, as stated, this property is currently zoned agricultural and is inside the ETJ of the city. To the north, the C1 land agricultural estated, estate residential to the northeast. To the east is a current sand and gravel pit zoned high impact. To the south is future site of the watershed condos and agricultural district. And to the west is C1 properties like Scoops Ice Cream. Next are a few site photos. The first is looking east immediately upon entry. The next will be approximately the east property line of the C2 zoning, looking northwest over that zone. Next is looking southwest over that C2 proposed zoning. Furthermore, as if you spun around 180 degrees, is looking east over the remaining land that is desiring the high impact. And then next is northeast of the pond, looking east over the pad of where they would like the proposed attached land. And last is just a big panoramic image of that large pad that's already in place. The project speaks to the comprehensive plan, principle 1, objectives 1.2, utilize the land classification plan and land classification plan map as a foundation for zoning decisions. And 1.5, strongly encourage redevelopment of underutilized vacant abandoned structures and lots. Additionally, principle 5, promote economic growth, and objective 5.3, they ensure that a shovel-ready sites are available for businesses and industrial growth. Objective 5.7, increase efforts to attract and retain businesses and residents. The future land use map shows this area is agricultural with general commercial to the west and northwest. Next, the staff has not received any public input, a couple inquiry phone calls asking for clarification. One stated that he would be present at this meeting this evening. I'm unsure if the gentleman is. Okay, he is present. And then staff conclusion and recommendation. In conclusion, the development of this property further connects and densifies our sprawling commercial growth to the north. Property is beyond large enough to accommodate all development standards for high impact district. And the commercial outlet will capitalize on the potential expansion of utilities and enhance the visual appearance of the corridor. I'd like to mention or inform the board that commitments restricting certain land uses can be recorded. And that is all by staff.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions for the staff regarding the petition that's been presented?
I have one question. So just for clarification on the high impact rezoning, you have highlighted gravel or sand mining. Does the concrete batch plant fall under gravel or sand mining? Is that what you're?
That's what we are classifying it as, is for that specific.
Additional permitted uses or anything else beyond the rezoning would need it for? concrete batch plant.
Correct. So can you clarify that a little bit? So you're saying the zoning would include, doesn't necessarily mean those are all the things that want to be in there, but that acceptable in that zoning?
My question was if they classified a concrete batch plant as gravel or sand mining, and I said yes.
Questions? Other questions? This time? Okay. Thank you. Is there a petitioner here who wishes to speak on this behalf? Welcome to do so. Please state your name and address.
My name is Wayne Richardson from Burt Franklin Associates, 811 Lawrence Drive, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46804. Our client is looking to rezone this parcel. Their initial intent was their current concrete batch plant, the Speedway Ready Mix plant, is located at the quarry just to the east of this location. That quarry is eventually going to expand into the area where they have their batch plant. So they are looking to be able to relocate their batch plant to this site once that comes up. Looking at the general area along 127 and knowing that there is commercial along 127 on both the east and west side, we're looking to go ahead and put that single frontage lot. We show it as 300 feet currently. But so we consulted with staff and it sounded like a C2 made sense here considering the C2 zoning to the south. If you look at the site, the batch plant would obviously have to be located behind that existing pond on site. There's not enough room in the front. So this batch plant's going to be over 1,000 feet away from the road and will be screened by any future commercial, and it will just be way back off the road in that location where there's currently a slab or basically a flat graded lot back there. We are once we do come for primary plat at the next meeting, we are not planning on asking for any variances. So we will have 200-foot setbacks from both property lines on the north and south for that batch plant. So it really gets really limited right into that spot. And again, this is just relocating the existing batch plant that's in the existing quarry location over to this location. The 50-foot easement for the access drive is where the existing drive is located now. So they don't plan on making any changes to the existing drive until this site gets developed in any way. We're hoping for positive recommendation to common council for the rezoning to high impact and the rezoning to the C2 in the front. I'm prepared to answer any questions.
Thank you.
It's gonna change the, are these cement trucks gonna come in? That's the 127 and.
So from this location, once the batch plant is located here, they will be accessing from that drive. It will change the number of trucks that access from that drive. The number of trucks that will be accessing it that currently use this as a construction staging area will decrease once there's a batch plant. It will somewhat offset that. And also the majority of the trucks that come from the ready mix plant now, they don't access 127 here, but they end up on 127 from their current route. But yes, this drive will have an increase in truck.
They'll take some traffic off.
Yes.
It'd be good to have about 300.
There's no intent for mining on that site, right? You just want to move the actual.
Yes, we are planning, this is rezoning. Primco and Speedway Ready Mix, it's all under one company. So yeah, Speedway Ready Mix is looking to move here just for their concrete batch plant.
How typically tall are those facilities? The tower that does that,
That I don't.
You don't know?
I have.
Interesting. Anyone else have some questions?
All I can say is I've been all over that area as a kid and I know it from front to back, so never dreamt it would be developed like we're proposing. I see no problem because it's about the only way to go.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you for information. At this time, we will open the meeting up to public comment. If you wish to speak on behalf or against or just general comments regarding the petition, you're welcome to do so. You just state your name and address and, yep.
My name is Jack Stephen Mitchell, and I own the property to the north of this proposed rezoned area there. If you look directly to the north, probably about a little more than 3/4 of the property on the north side of this would be owned by myself and my wife. We noticed we had a lot of cement storage over there over the years. This batch plant, I don't think is that big of a deal, but I can certainly look at what else it opens up to the, I mean, you look at storage tanks, hazardous, sewage treatment plant, other things that are available there. I see you guys are, starting to go into negotiations and planning for running your utilities north of 127, up to the state park. And I think it's very wise. And I think it's going to be, as you can see, even with your pop shelf and other things are going to grow to the north. I'm not sure that this is what would be the best solution for the future for that product to the north. I'm not have a problem with their grinding cement, but I do have a problem with all the other things that high impact opens up, and as you know, things change. So I'd just like you to take that into consideration, that it may not always be a cement grinding plant there. It can be many other things, as well as gravel pit. So.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak, you're welcome to do so.
Jeff V. Just one question I want to clarify. It was just a relocating of a plant, not mining access, correct? Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we will close that portion of the meeting. Does anyone have further questions for staff?
I have a question for the applicant. Would you or your property owner be interested in putting a commitment on this rezone to restrict HI to just the concrete batch plant?
By the applicant, the site owner is not here. That is definitely something I will discuss with them and.
Already did.
Yeah.
We already did. Had a nice conversation with him. He'd be happy to do that. This gentleman told me it was not possible. So that's where I was left at.
So
And it may not be, I don't know, but
I
that's.
can clarify that. So looking at the Indiana code that Brett originally pulled up, it does not allow for that. We did, Kim Shop, our attorney, myself and Brett dug into some other Indiana code, and we found that that is a possibility. We can do commitments on rezoning.
That would, like I say, I'm very fine with him doing his grinding of the cement and whatever he wants to do there. I don't have an issue with that at all. And I talked to Todd but I told him about my concerns, and he felt he had the same concerns. He was not interested in doing anything else either. He just wants to grind cement. I said, oh, I'm fine with that. And that's the reason why my query was when I called to see if that was possible, just like Mrs. Copier says, that you could delete that, which would be ideal. And I think even for the city, going north with all this other work, you're gonna go up to the, if you're gonna run this, city water and sewage all over King State Park, I would think you folks would be just as interested in that.
Appreciate that.
Can you scroll to the next sheet?
Down.
Yes. Just so I can see what the other uses,
Oh,
the permitted
yes.
uses
Mhm.
are. I completely agree that our client would definitely be willing to restrict the uses on this site. I'm not 100% sure which ones they would be open to crossing off, but I mean, staff has advised us that the gravel and sand mining is the classification that we need for the concrete batch plant. So we could definitely see, restricting the permitted uses to not allow numerous of these others.
Yeah.
Would you be comfortable if the board made a commitment just for this use and no other uses?
Just for the high impact back zoning.
Just for this
Yeah, just for the proposed use on the remaining parcel,
Yeah.
not the commercial.
Right.
I believe that our client would completely agree to just limit it to the single use for the concrete batch plant.
The concrete batch plant.
Yes, and there is, I may be wrong, we have a little bit of flexibility. We came here to present the rezoning today. The next meeting before this ends up going to common council,
Right.
we
Yeah, I
will
was
be here
just gonna
back
say
for.
that this is a recommendation board and for this particular, we can act on the facts that we have before us. If those facts change substantially before the county or the city council meets, then their vote can reflect that. So I think that's.
And that would go on our primary plat then, just that we would put the restrictions on the primary plat, which we're coming to the July meeting to present to you.
Yeah, we can put
before.
that commitment on there.
So we can work on getting the language for the commitments to.
Perfect.
Before that.
Could be happier. And I think the city would be happier too.
Most definitely.
I'd like to ask you a question. How about all this access on and off of Old 127 and where these cement trucks may be pulling in or out? We're going to make a provision for slow down and pull off?
That'd have to come up during a development plan, would it not, Jennifer? I don't think that would be, and certainly the state would be involved in that kind of turning and those kind of restrictions.
127 is a state highway. It will have to go for state driveway permit to change the access in this area. And they will take into account both any commercial development and the truck traffic that would be associated with the concrete batch plant.
But you've also stated that would be minimal on 127 as it's.
For the trucks, the number of trucks is not going to change very much on 127 because most of those trucks come to 127 now from the existing quarry. But there is, the access at the drive is always going to be a concern, so.
Right.
Thank you. Any more discussion amongst the board itself before we call for a motion regarding this request? And it sounds like if we do call for the recommendation, we should do so with if the board agrees to do so with that kind of a restriction. Okay.
I move that we accept the recommendation for the provision that the, what's the word again?
That the land be used for it, the commitment, the land be used for its current,
The commitment of the area be as presented as a concrete rendering plan,
restricted to kind of,
restricted to the concrete
that would be the recommendation.
batch plan. That would be.
There is a recommendation on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Susan will second.
This one, not this one.
Yeah, we can do these separately. We're doing
Oh,
the
I
high
do,
impact.
thank you. I am sorry, it is 2 lots. We are dealing with the, with the zoning for the C, yes.
For the high.
Is that your motion?
High
Yes,
impact
thank
is what
you.
I was.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
I'm sorry.
My bad. Yes, that's the way, Susan, is that your second for that? Okay. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, that portion has passed. The commercial lot, we will take
Make a motion to move forward with a favorable recommendation.
there is a motion. Is there a second? Steve, you make a second? All those in favor of that motion as it's been presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passed. Thank you very much, and obviously this will go to the city council, so. Our last item of the evening is, I believe, Jennifer?
Brett, what city council meeting?
July 17th.
All right, so this is our last case for the evening. This is the Gilmore Townhomes. It's a rezoning. The applicant and owner is the city of Angola. 302 West Gilmore Street is the address. It is currently zoned C1, small to medium general commercial. We're proposing a rezone of R5, which is high density multifamily. The lot is currently vacant. The dwelling, so the proposed use is a dwelling of 5 to 8 unit building. Tonight is the hearing date. Notices appeared in the Herald on June 2nd, and 33 property owners were sent notice on May 31st. Title 18 of the UDO and Indiana Code 36-7-4-600 series apply. It is not located in a floodplain. In March of 2023, the city acquired a dilapidated property that had been left neglected for some time. Before acquiring the property, the city conducted a phase 1 and 2 on the property. All environmental concerns have been or will be addressed. The building was raised and the lot is being turned back into a grass lot. The city wishes to rezone the property in hopes of working with the developer to construct market rate townhomes on the property. Ultimately, the goal is to put the property back on the tax roll and provide much needed housing for our community. Applicable zoning code, this is what would be permitted in the R5, so that dwelling 5 to 8 units is seen there. Contextual zoning for the area outlined in white is the property. We have our public safety facility, the funeral home just to the north, and then other commercial to the south and southeast, and then traditional neighborhood to the north, northwest. The comprehensive plan speaks to this property in objective 1.5 and 1.7 about infilling development. The future land use map shows this area as a mixed use, which is that purpley color. And then high density residential that we see as more the traditional residential today. The Steuben County Housing Study completed in 2020. We have a potential over 2,000 households of all income levels that need housing. 31% are younger singles or couples, 24% are empty nesters, retirees, with 36% housing preference for rental units. The annual absorption rate for Angola alone is 26 to 33 units per year and 88 to 110 units countywide. To date, we have not received any public input as a part of these notices that were sent. In conclusion, staff is supportive of the request. The redevelopment of the property is beneficial to the community. Given the 2020 housing study, there's no question that housing of this type is needed. Utilities are ready to be tapped into, and the parking is not an issue in this section of downtown. Analyzing the building form and development standards, staff believes that approximately 6 units, those being 2-story and approximately 1,000 square feet, would fit on the lot. Once the city identifies the developer, we will work with them to ensure that the context-sensitive design is selected. Again, this is a rezone, so it's recommendation to city council. Do you have any questions for staff?
Hearing none is, I assume that there will not be a petitioner to speak further on that, so we would allow that. What was that portion? Well, we haven't made a motion. At this time, I would like to open this up to public comment. If there's anyone here who wishes to speak for or against this application, you're welcome to do so. Okay, hearing or seeing no one, I will close that portion. I for one, I'm kind of excited about that opportunity with the city and add to the tax rolls and taking it proactive and need for housing, especially for downtown, and the more people that are who need to live downtown and enjoy that kind of lifestyle. So I think I like it. So my editorial. What?
And it won't be.
And it won't be vacant, and it sure will look like. Yeah, it will. Anyone else have any comments they'd like to make on this petition? And we will call for a motion on this issue. There is a motion to accept the proposal for a positive recommendation to city council for this change in zoning. Is that your motion?
Right.
Okay. Is there a second? Roll will second. All those in favor of the motion is being laid out, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, that motion has passed. We do have one address tonight, okay?
Amanda, would you like to present this one?
Up on whatever it is.
Remember?
So this is the corner of Wooler Street and Hoosier Drive. It's a vacant lots that is potential for development. So the address is 2300 Wooler Street as the building face, and Main Drive would be off the Wooler.
Someone would like to make a motion regarding the address change at this location? They're welcome to do so.
Move that we enter. Oh, I'm sorry, Susan. Go, you go.
I move we accept 2300 Bullard Street as the address.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Gary will second. All those in favor of the change in address in this location, or signing of address in this location, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion has passed. Do we have any other business this evening? Staff, any reports? Looks like our next meeting then will be,
It's actually the 10th.
oh, okay. 10? Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add this evening? We'll take a motion to adjourn. I will make it. You will second. All those in favor? All right. Those opposed? None? We are adjourned. Thank you. Four, that's good. Yeah, it's moving. That one better.
Oh, you can take them home and save them or we'll recycle them.
Our next meeting is the 10th, not the 17th.
Correct. The council is the
Second, yeah.
Oh, make sure it's right. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, he said, well, we'll try to work purpley.
Purpley?
Purpley color.
Yeah, I'd love to, I would like the minutes to,
I'm sorry, what?
I would like the minutes to say purpley.
Purpley.
I think should.
They should.
Where?
I don't know, right when it came out of your mouth.
I own back a couple hundred feet.
Purple color.
Oh, yeah, that purple.